What's going on, YouTube? Today I bring you my playoff predictions for the 2021 postseason. It's playoff time, baby. These are going to be some dang good playoff games, too. I mean, just look at some of the games we have. This is going to be great, so let's hop straight in. Starting off with the first game, we have the Ravens heading over to play Tennessee. And this is an interesting game because if you look at it, you know, both of these teams have very obvious strengths. With the Ravens, their defense is very good as well, but their offense has definitely been, I think, the reason that they're even in the playoffs. Lamar Jackson hasn't been his MVP self, but he's definitely still a great quarterback. You look at the Titans, on the other hand, their strength is very obviously their offense. Their defense is very bad. They have no edge rush whatsoever. I think they got one sack last game, and that was a miracle. They have decent linebackers, good safeties, pretty bad corners. So at the end of the day, both of these offenses are very high powered. I mean, you look at the Ravens offense, they've got great pieces everywhere. You look at the Titans offense, I mean, Ryan Tannehill's a good quarterback. They have receiving threats, but I mean, god dang, Derrick Henry, I mean, he has to be the best running back in the NFL at this point. The dude's just an absolute monster. And while that's going to be a lot for Baltimore to handle on the defensive side of things, it's going to be so easy for Baltimore to score on this horrible Titans defense. I just think at the end of the day that the Titans defense isn't good enough to keep up with the Ravens. And I think Lamar Jackson finally gets his first postseason win against the Tennessee Titans. Then next we have the Browns and the Steelers. Now this is interesting as well because both teams have good offenses and good defenses. Obviously, the offense is the defense is a bit better on both teams. The defense is certainly why the Pittsburgh Steelers are here. On offense, they've had some major concerns. The Browns, on the other hand, it's not that they've had concerns, they just haven't been elite per se. But Nick Chubb is a monster. Baker Mayfield's having really his best season, regardless of how many touchdowns he's thrown. So this is an interesting matchup. And normally, I think I would take the Browns here, just based off of the way the Steelers have been playing recently, especially since they just lost to the Browns. But that's actually why I'm taking the Steelers in this one, is because they did just lose to the Browns. You know, it's so hard to beat a team twice. And, obviously the Steelers would be beating the Browns twice here. But, in back-to-back weeks, especially with how close that game was, Ben Roethlisberger hasn't been playing great. But come playoff time, I trust that offense enough to be able to beat the Browns. I don't think their running game is going to suddenly just be rejuvenated, but I think they can work on their drops. Big Ben is still one of the best quarterbacks of all time. If the Browns had lost this game on week 17, I would be taking the Browns. But because the Steelers lost this game, it's a revenge game, and it's so hard to beat a team 2 weeks in a row. So, let alone 2 times. Then the Colts are heading over to Buffalo. This is a game that I wouldn't be surprised. This is definitely the game I feel there's the biggest chance for the biggest upset. Obviously they're the number 7 seed and the Bills are the 2 seed, but I could see the Colts upsetting the Bills here. Phillip Rivers has looked better this season than he has in a long time, obviously because of the offensive line. The offense is a concern, but the Colts defense has played very, very nicely. Ever since they got DeForest Buckner back, they've been playing fantastically. But then you look at the Bills, and it's like Josh Allen is just playing on another universe right now. The man throws 3 or 4 touchdowns every single game, maybe a pick on a bad play. Their run game isn't as bad as everyone says. Stephon Diggs is putting up a strong argument for the best receiver in the NFL right now. And then their defense is also fantastic as well. They've got a few holes, but the team's just so well put together, so high-powered on offense, and their defense is also. That defense tore apart Miami. Miami looked like last year. They didn't look like this year's Dolphins. So their defense is also just as deadly. So while I could see the Colts maybe winning here because they're a team that is kind of, in a way, fit to beat a team like the Bills, just with the way they're built. I can't see them beating the Bills, but I wouldn't be surprised. Let's just say that. I don't think it'll happen, but I wouldn't be surprised. Then moving on to the NFC, we've got Tampa Bay heading to Washington. And this is strange, it shows how the NFL format for playoffs is kind of wacky. Realistically, the Cardinals should be in instead of the Washington football team. And, the Washington football team wouldn't even be in right now if a certain coach decided not to take out their quarterback. But, it's so cut and dry for me here. I didn't mean to put the Rams. I don't see a way Tampa Bay chokes this game. I honestly can't. You look at the Washington football team. I fully believe that they're a franchise quarterback away from being serious contenders. Okay? They're 7-9 because of their pass rush. That's literally it. That's besides Kendall Fuller and some offensive weapons, this team has the best pass rush in the NFL, and it's not even close to me. That's why they're even 7-9 and so close to contention. And then you look at the Buccaneers' offensive line plus their tight ends. Donovan Smith, Alex Kappa, Ryan Jensen, Ali Marpet, and Tristan Wirfs. And then you bring in Rob Gronkowski to be able to block as well as he can. The one big strength of the Washington football team is their pass rush, their front four. And the Buccaneers' offensive line is maybe the best in the NFL. It's just, I don't see a way that Tampa Bay loses this game. This is I guarantee this. I'm 100%. I'm not even going to think about taking Washington. It's just, they're a quarterback away from contention, but they don't have that quarterback. And, their one big strength is going to be taken away this game. Then the Rams at the Seahawks. I think I see upset here. Here's why. Okay. And I know Seahawks fans are going to be pissed, but just think about this, okay? The Seahawks, their obvious strength is their offense. Russell Wilson. I'm not sure if Chris Carson's healthy, but if he is Chris Carson, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, obviously, right? Their offensive line is needs work, but has good pieces. Damian Lewis and Dwayne Brown. Look at their defense. No one on the defensive line. No pass rushers. They've got a fantastic linebacker in Bobby Wagner. A safety that's probably played his worst he's ever played this year in Jamal Adams. No corners, really. Maybe one good guy. And then you look at the Rams, right, with their defense. Come on. Aaron Donald, Michael Brockers, Leonard Floyd, Jalen Ramsey, Darius Williams. Their defense is so much better than the Seahawks. And then you look at the offensive side of things, right? Very obviously, the Seahawks have a better offense than the Rams. But I'm a very big believer that defense wins championships. I truly believe it does. And that's what happens here in this case. Because, and the Rams' offense is nothing to sleep on either. And I trust Sean McVay to be able to handle an offense even if they don't have Jared Goff this week, which there's a possibility. I think their offense will at least be able to keep up with the Seahawks offense. And if they can't, I think it's the defense that's going to be doing the work, because the Rams defense is just so much better than the Seahawks that I got to take the Rams here, because they're just better overall as a team, and so much better on defense. Then the Chicago Bears heading to the Saints. And this is another game I can see an upset. This is a game that I think is going to be very low scoring. Maybe I don't see more than 20 points being scored in this game. I think this is going to be a highly defensive game. The Bears are going to keep themselves in it because obviously their offense isn't good, but they're used to staying in games simply just because their defense limits their opponents. With the Saints, their defense and their offense are both obviously good. There's a reason they're the number 2 seed. They've been great this year, and I'm going to still take them. But this is another game I honestly wouldn't be surprised if the Bears won, because their defense is, besides maybe the Steelers or the Bills or the Rams, is one of the best defenses in the NFL, arguably the best, right? They looked gassed for a while there at the end of the season, but they kind of look a bit rejuvenated. And if their offense can play the way that they've been playing recently, I could definitely see the Bears winning this game. I don't think it's a reach at all to say that they could upset here. But for right now, I'm still going to go with the Saints because overall they're the better team. But I would not be surprised if it's a very tight game and if the Bears maybe even win. But that's my wild card matchups. Moving on to the divisional round. We've got first the Steelers head into Buffalo, and in this game, this is a very interesting game. Again, because Bills' offense and defense are both fantastic. Pittsburgh's defense has been great all year, but their offense is having some big issues right now, and that offense faces a much bigger challenge playing the Bills' defense. Although the Browns' defense is nothing to sleep on, they're obviously still good. The Bills' defense is arguably the best defense in the NFL as well. So it's a tough selection here, but at the end of the day, I just think that since Buffalo's both offense and defense are so high-powered, Josh Allen, even though, the Pittsburgh has good safeties and good corners, they have a good backfield, their strength does ultimately lie in their pass rush. And although Alex Highsmith has played good, losing Bud Dupree was still a big blow. I've got to take Buffalo here because with the recent struggles of Pittsburgh, even in the few games that they've won at the end of the season, they were down to the wire. And it's just their offense isn't good enough to keep up with the Bills' offense. And both defenses are equally good, if not the Bills is better. So I got to take the Bills here. Then Baltimore moving on to Kansas City. Kansas City gets that bye week, which helps them out a lot. I got to take Kansas City here. They're the best team in the NFL. I don't think you can argue it anymore. They put up true competition against the Chargers. Obviously, they lost, but they put up true competition with Chad Henne at quarterback, and they rested Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. All of their biggest guys were out, and they still put up actual competition. They're just the best team in the NFL. I don't think you can argue it at this point. The Ravens, they're great. I think they can win a playoff game. But if it comes to up against the Chiefs, I just still don't think, they definitely don't have enough playoff experience yet. After winning their first game in this postseason, if it goes according to how I'm saying it, this is only their second time they'd be trying to win a postseason game. And the Chiefs are just too good. They're too high-powered on offense. That defense is good, but I just don't think they can create the pressure on Patrick Mahomes. And the Chiefs, it's scary, but they get even better in the postseason. I wouldn't be surprised if, last season, we see it again where they're down, where they're down, maybe 20-0 or something, and then come back and win, 40-0, 40-20. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens again, because to the Chiefs in the postseason, it's really just handing your little brother the controller, let him play the first quarter or so, and then you hop in and just start wrecking the other teams. That's just how it is for the Chiefs. That's how good they are. I got to take the Chiefs here. Then the Buccaneers heading to New Orleans. Rematch. Saints beat the Buccaneers both times in the regular season. So why can't they do it again here? Because I'm not sure I can trust the Saints to hold up against the Buccaneers. If you look at the Buccaneers offense, Tom Brady is obviously Tom Brady. But beyond Tom Brady, their offensive line is tremendous. I think their offensive line can definitely hold that defensive pass rush of the Saints in check, and they have a very good pass rush. The weapons that Tom Brady has on that team, wide receiver number 1, who I think he just got hurt, but I'm not sure if it's serious. I think he is supposed to be back sometime during the postseason, if not this coming game. Mike Evans, first NFL player ever to post 7 straight 1,000 receiving seasons in his first 7 seasons. Um, so, Mike Evans is obviously fantastic. Chris Godwin is a fantastic number 2. Looks like an amazing receiver going forward. They have Antonio Brown, which hasn't looked like, past Antonio Brown, but it's still Antonio Brown. And Scotty Miller has played pretty well this year as a rookie. So many weapons. And then, you haven't even talked about Rob Gronkowski, who's looked good this year, and OJ Howard, which is their backup tight end, and he is a starting caliber guy. That offense is just so deadly, and I think come postseason, they're going to be the most deadly they've ever been. Postseason Tom Brady is another monster. And it's going to be interesting seeing how Bruce Arians handles the playoffs, though, in the Buccaneers as a whole. And, of course, the defense of the Buccaneers is nothing to sleep on either. I mean, you've got playmakers all over the place. Vita Vea, I'm not sure if he's back yet. I know he was hurt, but if he's there, Vita Vea, Shaquille Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul, and then, beyond the pass rush, Levante David, Devin White, Jamal Dean, Carlton Davis, Antoine Winfield. The defense and the offense is so good, and Drew Brees has just looked at times washed. If they have to take him out and put in Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill, I don't trust either of those guys to win in the postseason against such a good team. And I don't know if their defense is good enough to keep up with the Buccaneers. At times, the Saints defense has struggled with letting guys over the top. And, the Buccaneers have some very good, very fast, very talented receivers. I just think that the Buccaneers are just going to outplay them here. So then the Rams at the Packers. I'm going to take the Packers in this one. They're the number 1 seed for a reason. Aaron Rodgers is the obvious MVP for me at this point. He's played on another level, set a franchise record, 48 touchdown passes for the Packers this year. Devontae Adams was fantastic. I think he led the NFL in receiving touchdowns, I believe. Then you look at their defense, and also Aaron Jones has been great as well, and A.J. Dillon looks good. But then you look at their defense, Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, Kenny Clark, I forget, Jair Alexander. There's just so many good players and playmakers all over the place. And you look at the Rams, this game at the end of the day, I believe is going to come down to who plays better offensively. I did say defense wins championships, but I don't think defense is going to be the determining factor in this game, because I believe both the defenses are going to play great. Jair Alexander is going to take Cooper Kupp out of the game. Jalen Ramsey is going to take Devontae Adams out of the game. So at the end of the day, I think it comes down to which team scores more points. I think this could be a very high-scoring game. Jared Goff, I think, would definitely be back by this point. And when it comes to Jared Goff or Aaron Rodgers, I'm taking Aaron Rodgers every day. I think that the Packers have better running backs. The Packers have a better offensive line. Both the defenses are going to play well, but let up a lot of points, I think. And I got to take the Packers in this one because I just think they're the better team. And I don't know, they're the number 1 seed for a reason. So then moving on to the championships, we got Buffalo Bills heading over to Kansas City to play the Chiefs. This could be a very entertaining, high-scoring game. But once again, I'm going to take the Chiefs. The Chiefs play better in the postseason than any team in the NFL right now. Just last year against the Bills, they beat them after being down, I think it was 17-0 or something, or 17-3. They just demolished them. Obviously, Josh Allen's got a lot better. He'll put up a lot more points than they did last season. But the Chiefs are still, again, they're the best team in the NFL on another level. They just mess around with you. I mean, people were like, oh, well, they were playing bad at the end of the season, and mismanaging. The guys, they were using teams like the Broncos or the Chargers to practice plays for the postseason. That's how good this team is. They can get teams who are playing competitively and just practice new plays on them because they're such a good team. You got to take that team here. And the Bills, I think they'll be great. Personally, I think, that if the Chiefs weren't as good as they were, I would definitely have them winning here. But the Chiefs are just the best team in the NFL, and that's that. It's a simple pick. Then the Buccaneers at the Packers. This is interesting for me because these two matchups, it's very, very close in my opinion. Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, Ronald Jones and Aaron Jones, Leonard Fournette and A.J. Dillon, Devontae Adams against Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Scotty Miller, and Chris Godwin. Robert Tonyan versus Rob Gronkowski and O.J. Howard. A fantastic Buccaneers offensive line against a good Packers offensive line. The Buccaneers have great pass rush while the Packers have great pass rush. The Buccaneers have two fantastic linebackers. The Packers have no linebackers. The Buccaneers have three great secondary players. The Packers have one, maybe two. If you look at what I was just saying, both of these teams have a lot of great, competitive, and talented players. The Buccaneers just have more. And I trust, if I had to take Bruce Arians versus Matt LaFleur in the playoffs, I'm going to take Bruce Arians. Even though he hasn't been there in a long time, and I'm not exactly sure how he's going to handle this team in the playoffs. I trust him. And I think they can beat a very talented Packers team. I just think, again, both of these teams are tremendously talented. And I think Aaron Rodgers is, obviously one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen. I just got to take the Buccaneers. I think there's more talent. I think that they've just got a more complete team overall. The Packers obviously have a very complete team as well, but just, only one good corner to cover four great receivers, no linebackers to cover two great tight ends, three good pass rushers against five great offensive linemen. There's too many mismatches that go in the Buccaneers' favor. I got to take the Buccaneers here. And then moving on to my Super Bowl 55 matchup, we have the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a very interesting matchup. Chiefs have a fantastic quarterback, a decent run game, a decent offensive line, fantastic weapons, on tight ends and wide receivers. Buccaneers, fantastic quarterback, good, decent running back, great O-line, and fantastic weapons. These offenses are very similar, very different in the way they do things, but very similar in the terms of talent that they have. Where the game's going to be decided, in my opinion, is the defense. Which defense plays better? You look at the Chiefs, their pass rush comes from a one-man army in Chris Jones, which I think the Buccaneers can handle considering they have five fantastic offensive linemen plus two good blocking tight ends. Buccaneers, they have fantastic pass rushers in Shaquille Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul, and if he's healthy Vita Vea, against a good, Chiefs offensive line. Mitchell Schwartz has been great. Eric Fisher has played his best he's ever played, and they have good inside offensive linemen. It's nowhere near the Bucs, but it's still a good offensive line. Chiefs have okay linebackers, no one good. Buccaneers have great linebackers. Chiefs have some budding corners, but the Buccaneers have some already proven corners. The Chiefs have two great safeties. The Buccaneer has one good rookie safety. This is going to be such an interesting game. I mean, this might be one of the best Super Bowls we'll ever see, just because of how closely matched these teams are in talent. But like I said, where the game's going to come down is the defense. Both of these teams are going to be putting up scores like crazy. They have so good, high-powered offenses. But which defense holds up better at the end of the day? And I got to go with the Chiefs. I think that Chris Jones is a one-man army on that defense. Frank Clark is okay. The defensive line is met. But Chris Jones is just such a destroyer on the defensive line. The Buccaneers have a great offensive line. I mean, Chris Jones might not even get a sack, but he's going to be pressuring Tom Brady all game. whether he gets a sack or not, he's going to be pressuring him because that man is a monster. In my opinion, the best defensive lineman in the NFL, besides like Aaron Donald or but best besides Aaron Donald, I would say. Um, with the Buccaneers, I think they'll definitely get pressure on Mahomes, but Mahomes just acts like pressure isn't there, even if it is. This man creates those no-look passes. He extends plays, has such a big arm. He's great on his feet. Like, the Buccaneers have a good pass rush, but Mahomes, is going to make it look like they don't. And, I just think at the end of the day that even though the Buccaneers have better corners and safeties, I think that the Chiefs, they just play with more heart. They play harder and stronger, and I see that more of that will to win it all in the Chiefs than I do in the Buccaneers. And at the end of the day, I'm going to take Andy Reid over Bruce Arians in a offensive matchup like that. And I think the Chiefs can hold it better on defense. Regardless, I could see the Buccaneers winning, but I definitely think there's a far better chance the Chiefs win. They go back-to-back this year. Regardless of who wins, what games, how it all goes, this is going to be a fantastic postseason. I mean, these are going to be some great games. Even realistically, even the Bears and the Saints could be competitive and fun to watch. This game could be competitive and fun to watch, and they probably will be. I mean, this game might even be fun to watch, even if it's not competitive. Might be fun. And the rest of these games are going to definitely be fun to watch and stuff. And this Super Bowl especially, I think, could be very, very good, very fun. But yeah, so those are my picks. Let me know what you guys think down below. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, comment down below what you like, call me stupid, whatever you like. I'll have a mock draft up this sometime soon. Yeah, so thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the I will see all you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.